So step three would be supportive practices. Now, again, this is something I could do a whole video on and probably will, but just to kind of quickly look at a few things. Meditation 101 is definitely something I want to come back to. It's the basic principle of what are we trying to do when we're meditating. When we're meditating, uh, we're trying to stop a flow of thoughts which is automatic and uncontrolled. The mind is really like a train, it just runs, we're not actually in charge of it most of the time, it's just running on auto. And, if you try to stop that flow of thoughts, you find it's actually impossible. If you try to just sit and focus on your breathing, or any other thing, a candle flame, or any one stimulus, you will find very quickly that your mind is on any one of 1,000 different topics. And the more you try to keep your mind still, the more it wants to rush around, in fact. Now, the idea is not to prevent us ever being able to think again, but to be able to rest in one point of awareness, one focus, in order to develop a kind of depth of focus, if you like. So meditation is simply that. It's like taking any focus and just sitting with it, and as soon as your mind wanders, bringing your attention back, bring it back, bring it back every time it wanders. And you'll find, if you try this 5 or 10 minutes a day, whatever the stimulus, breathing is easy because you never need any equipment for it. You've always got your breath with you, so it's incredibly simple. You will find within half a second of trying to do it that you're thinking about something else, and you just bring the attention back, and over a period of time you'll notice that you're more profoundly aware of your own breathing. Just you're more in that moment, and you kind of develop this pool of awareness in one thing, which then the idea is long term that you then can apply that depth of awareness to everything you do, whether it's thoughts, conversations, awareness of the world around you, and everything in your life. That is something that has a huge bearing on equanimity in poker. So I think that it definitely deserves exploration. And just a few other things that I think are very useful for dispelling tilt. Gratitude. When we're really, I'm not going to, drop in any four-letter words in this video, but when we're really, let's say, narked off or upset with the way something's gone in a hand, and we feel like, screw my life or whatever people say, you're thinking, hang on a minute, what do I have to be grateful for? I'm grateful for my daughter. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm not in a conflict-ridden part of the world with no healthcare, no food, no basic amenities. I'm grateful for the fact that I have options in my life, not working in a diabolically awful job, etc. There are always things to be grateful for, and this can help enormously in dispelling tilt. Humor, a sense of humor, not taking ourselves too seriously is huge, and it's something we've just spoken about, so I won't go into it more now, but certainly a huge tool in getting rid of tilt. And sense of relativity, understanding that our own dramas that we get lost in are only relatively real. They seem extremely real when we're stuck in them. As soon as we get out the other side, we realize they're only relatively real. They're not totally unreal either. They're just relatively real. They're not as binding as they seem at the time. One of the fundamental features of being depressed is that when you feel depressed, you feel like it's never going to end. It has this sense of permanence. It's inescapable. So, if it didn't feel like that, we'd already be on the way to solving it. It's just another example for, another different mental state issue. But, all of these things, when we're stuck in them, they seem impossibly binding. But actually, if we are able to take that little perception, the noticer that we spoke about earlier, and just step outside of it, we see that it is only relatively real. And then I'd like to talk more about surrender than control. I think tilt control is the wrong word because it suggests this kind of tense grappling with our own emotions, which is only going to make them worse, as we were speaking about before. Whereas surrendering, I don't mean surrendering to the negative reaction, but surrendering to the possibilities of the present moment, and surrendering to the possibility of the next moment, surrendering to the idea that we can let it go, we can let go of our reaction, we can let go of the investment in the negative feeling and let the next moment happen freely. These are all things that, we could talk about in far more detail, but I just wanted to touch on these today and just, play with these ideas, get you thinking about them. So step 4, rinse and repeat and review. Just as with any other form of poker, we have incremental learning. We don't become crushers at our chosen game overnight. We build it up, we improve with time and with sustained effort. It's just the same with mental game. So keep a record, watch your progress, see where you come unstuck, how to remember it and be aware of it. Take your time. Don't expect to become perfect at it in one go, but notice your improvements as well, and congratulate yourself on them, and know your limits. Know when it's not appropriate to sit down and play because you're not in the right state of mind. You don't have to force it. Pick your moments. I just wanted to throw one other concept out there, which is kind of borrowed from Eastern philosophy, which is being and becoming. Being, this is just being in the moment, as we're speaking about a little bit today. Being in the moment, I think a good example of is listening to music in certain states of mind. We're so into the piece of music that we're not busy being aware of how much we like it, because that would almost be one step away from being inside it. We're just in that moment, we're immersed in it, being in it. And there's a sense of immersion that comes along with anything that we're truly into, with sports, with physical things, also with poker decision making, and also with being at peace with our own kind of state of mind, our own responses emotionally in game. Whereas becoming is quite another thing. Becoming is about transition and change and improvement and growth. Being is just about stillness, really, and being in this moment. So they're kind of opposite ends of a spectrum, where if you like, the being is the horizontal and the becoming is the vertical axis, and these two dimensions, if you like, are actually collaborative ones, and ones that can be made to work together to I guess in a holistic sense, to be a more whole human being. Now these it's kind of philosophical concepts which definitely deserve a lot more time and attention to bring out everything that's kind of buried in them. And again, this is more of a kind of teaser video, really. This is a quick bite of some concepts which I think there's a lot more to say about. But for now, I would like to just recommend you to try some of these initial practices that I've gone over today, and to just start to try to be aware of this in your own game. I do actually have so much more on this topic that I'd like to explore, that I've made arrangements with John Little that I'm going to run a special series of webinars, of online seminars purely on mental games. These 6 classes are going to run weekly, and they're going to deal with select issues to do with tilt control and mental game, which we're going to review together in kind of depth, and I'm going to be running quizzes between each seminar, between each webinar, so that you can gauge how you're dealing with these concepts, how you're applying them in your own game. There's going to be quite a few exercises to explore in between each week. Now, I don't want to give too much away, get the cat out the bag, as it were, but there are several different concepts I'd like to unpack each week, and they're going to be hanging around certain key concepts from the course, which I've built myself, but it's based on work that I've done in my own coaching in the past with individual students. I've coached quite a few guys now in mental game, including some quite high stakes players. I think I have a lot to bring to bear that I can use to help you with your mental game. So the first week we're going to look at the nature of selfhood and the nature of the ego and our own responses and how to understand those better. In the second week, we're going to look at the in-game challenges and those aspects to poker which are, most difficult in terms of mental game challenge, and the nature of aggression in poker and how to deal with that. In week 3, we're going to be looking at one of my favorite kind of models for the perfect mental game player, the ninja. That perfect balance of aggression and calm, equanimity and detachment. And we're going to look at how to optimize our mental state and how to exist in the present moment in game. In week 4, we're going to look at meta tilt issues such as bankroll management, life EV, life equity, what is best for our overall life balance, and community, poker community. In week 5, We're going to look at the nature of adaptation and how that plays into all of the concepts we've looked at in previous weeks. And then in the final week, we're going to be putting it all together, bringing together all the stuff that we've explored and looking at what it really adds up to and how it's helped us and how we can move forward from there. And we're also going to have a little epilogue in the final week where we look beyond poker at how this all applies across the rest of our lives as well. Every session will run live and you'll be able to ask any questions you like and get involved. I will have people jumping on audio if they like or posting questions in text chat. And if you can't make it to a live session, everything will be recorded and you will have full access to those in the form of videos and audio files. The course is going to start on Tuesday the 11th of November. It will run for 6 straight weeks every Tuesday. It'll be running, my time is GMT, and it'll be running at 8 p.m. till 9 p.m. GMT, which over in the States will be, I think will be 5 hours early. It'll be a 3 p.m. start, Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays. I'm sure this is a course which can help anyone from those of you who feel that they have mild to moderate mental game issues to those of you who really feel that they need to work on full-blown tilt. This is a course which is going to help you understand yourself and your own reactions in much more depth. And I can guarantee you that will be absolutely beneficial for your bottom line, your return on investment in your play as well. So if you're ready to release your inner ninja to become a Zen master of mental game and tilt surrender or tilt control, click the button below the video to enroll yourself in the 6-week course. I look forward to working with you over the next 6 weeks to transform your mental approach to the game. In the meantime, guys, all the best in your own game. I wish you all the best of luck at the felt, and I'll be seeing you very soon. Take care.